The beautiful woman's body was covered with scales, and she's got a boa constrictor wrapped around her heart. This is not a strange disease. It was the curse of a witch. The python came out of the woman's body. It was about to attack the doctor who was performing the operation, but the samurai killed him with a slash. The witch who cast the curse was also immediately reversed. It turns out that just a short time ago, Dr. Blackjack received a package from 2 years ago. When he opened it, he found a box full of money. There was also a letter and a map. The person on the letter said that his wife was suffering from a strange disease. He begged Blackjack to come and treat her. Pinocchio told Blackjack that the package had been sent 2 years ago. Blackjack, sensing the urgency of the situation, immediately tells Pinocchio to pack her things and leave. Hoping to save her in time, they follow the map to the mountain. They asked the truck driver for the address on the letter and found that it was not far ahead. It snowed heavily in the mountains. In order to take care of Pinocchio, Blackjack decided to go to a nearby temple to spend the night, but the car got stuck in the snow. Had no choice but to rest in the car. But when Blackjack woke up again, he found himself in front of the temple. Blackjack didn't think much of it, carried Pinocchio to the temple. The temple was clearly empty, but the bell in the courtyard was rung. Then a beautiful nun came out. Blackjack asked the nun to take care of Pinocchio. Prepare to go to the patient's home by yourself. But when he arrived at the address on the map, he found that there was only a 1,000-year-old tree. At that moment, a man in armor suddenly appeared. At a gallop, they came and pulled him to his horse. The man called himself Saburo. It was he who sent the letter and package. Suddenly, several sharp arrows felled the horses. A group of warriors rushed forward with great vigor, only to have Saburo take care of them easily. When the two arrived at the camp, there was a group of wounded soldiers in front of them. Saburo took Blackjack to the person who needed medical attention, but she was not his wife. Instead, Saburo called her the princess. She didn't care about Blackjack's arrival either. She only asked Saburo if he had brought back the marijuana leaves. Saburo said there was too much wind and snow outside and he hadn't found any marijuana leaves. But the woman went straight into madness. She rushed out with a mask on her head. The long knife in her hand slashed Saburo's body, but the blade was not opened, so it did not hurt Saburo. Blackjack tried to stop her, but he was knocked out by the princess. When he woke up, Saburo told him the princess's illness was contracted 4 years ago. At that time, the neighboring monarch Rokujoji, I saw the beauty of the princess. He wanted to take her as a concubine by force, but the princess did not want to marry an old man in his 60s. So the day before the wedding, ate a fruit containing poison, although she was rescued in time to save her life, but also got this strange disease. The body is covered with colored fish scales, and will often be in pain and fall into a coma. Only the consumption of marijuana leaves can provide relief. But marijuana leaves are very addictive. Saburo didn't dare give her more. Blackjack heard this. He wants to give the princess a full checkup, but he found that his medical tools were all gone. He had no choice but to examine the princess with his own medical experience. The cause of the illness was probably the heart. Suddenly he found someone eavesdropping on the rafters. Saburo noticed it immediately. The person's name was Sudamaru. He was a member of Rokujoji's wife, Mrs. Keiru's staff. The purpose of Sudamaru's visit was to tell Saburo to hand over the princess, or an army would soon come. This provoked Saburo's anger. The two of them soon got into a fight. Sudamaru was defeated and escaped. Blackjack also prepared to go back to the car, to get a spare set of medical equipment to perform surgery. Unexpectedly, he fell into a trap halfway. The woman named Sudamaru appeared again. She asked Blackjack to come with her. Mrs. Keiru also wanted to see him. Seeing Sudamaru enter the temple, Blackjack suddenly felt that something was wrong. He rushed into the temple. Pinocchio had disappeared, and the beautiful nun is Mrs. Keiru. Just because she was unable to have children, she was ruthlessly abandoned by her husband Rokujoji. She became a nun because she was discouraged, but she still loved her husband. Don't want to be taken away by another woman. Mrs. Keiru said Pinocchio would be her own child. After that, she kicked Blackjack out. The first priority now was to heal the princess. He went back into the car, grabbed the medical kit and rushed back to the camp. When he went upstairs, he heard the princess was blaming Saburo. Why didn't he marry her in the first place? The princess and Saburo had been childhood friends since childhood. They had long been in love with each other, but because of their status as master and servant, Saburo didn't dare cross the line. Even if the princess was willing to die with him by taking poison, he didn't want the princess to lose her life. At this moment, Blackjack finally spoke. He told them to prepare for the operation, but after the anesthetic injection, the princess could not fall asleep. Saburo had no choice but to take out the last marijuana leaf. After the princess ate the marijuana leaf, she went to sleep and started the operation, and when the scalpel fell, Mrs. Kaoru on the other side immediately sensed it. She rushed into the room to increase the power of the curse. Black Jack was also stunned by the sight. At that moment, the python grew in size. Saburo immediately drew the knife forward. He killed the python with a single slash. Mrs. Kaoru was also affected by the curse. She died in hatred. Black Jack stitched up the wound. He told Saburo to wait for the wound to heal. The princess would be safe and sound. But then Rokujoji's army suddenly arrived. Saburo's soldiers were outnumbered. There was no way to stop them. But then Saburo finally made up his mind not to hide his deep love for the princess. Even if he knew he was going to die, he would have stayed by the princess's side. Meanwhile, Sudamaru came to Lord Rokujoji with Mrs. Kaoru's body in his arms. Knowing that his wife had died, Rokujoji seemed unconcerned. Now all he could think about was the princess. Sudamaru suddenly draws her sword and tries to stab Rokujoji to death. But Rokujoji's guards pierced her body with a bow and arrow, but she used her last strength to kill Rokujoji. The love-hate relationship has finally come to an end. Saburo finally escaped with the princess. He excitedly told the princess how much he loved her. Since then, heaven and earth are big. They could finally spend the rest of their lives together. But he didn't know. The princess behind him already learned of his feelings. She bled to death from a ruptured wound. By the time Saburo found out, it was already too late. Saburo died with his lover in despair. When Black Jack arrives, Pinocchio tells him, soldiers put the princess's body in makeup and sorted it out. Put the body in Rokujoji's coffin and bury it together. The two bitter lovers could not be together until they died. Turn of time, Black Jack woke up again, but he still found himself in the car, and only half an hour had passed. It turns out that everything just happened, was all a dream, but everything is so real. By now the snow had stopped. A man suddenly appeared. He said he was the one who wrote to Black Jack. Black Jack followed the man to his house, climbing to the familiar attic, but he saw that the man's wife looked exactly like the princess in his dream. After some examination, Black Jack was sure the woman had a tumor in her heart. This disease must be operated on in a proper hospital, so he went downstairs to seek the man's advice, but found no one downstairs. He told the woman what had just happened, but the woman said that her husband Saburo, he died in a work-related accident 2 years earlier. Black Jack is incredulous. The package he received had been sent exactly 2 years earlier. The original reincarnation of love is still continuing. Each crumpled bill contains Saburo's silent love for the princess. Black Jack didn't say any more. He took the woman and left, preparing to go to the best hospital to operate on her. He believed that the operation would be successful, because the woman is carrying is Saburo's love that has been reincarnated for 100 years. Asking what love is in this world, it's like a promise of life and death. Have you been touched by today's story? May we all live happily ever after with our beloved ones. If you also like, help give a compliment. See you in the next video.